Have you ever been with an older woman? Like,
one time I fucked this absolute animal that was. I mean,
I love this story.
She looked like a bulldog. And yeah, that was, I mean, I was also about 21.
Can you walk me through this more in detail? Because you've kind of glossed over it, but I want to go into detail. How did you meet? Were you drunk? She's drunk?
Beyond drunk. It's the drunkest I've ever, a blackout, complete blackout. To the point that I learned later that I had made out with an older lady, a lady 25 years older than me that I was working with, that I had zero recollection of. And I had other people like looking at me like, hey, aren't you going to say hi? And I said like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And they're like, nice to meet you. They're like,
my God.
Your tongue was down her throat. And I was like, what? Oh, no. I had zero recollection. That's not the lady I fucked. It's a different lady at the same party. So the way that it actually went down was,
oh my God,
I ended up just getting hammered. And it's really where I learned that you don't hook up at work, because I hooked up with 5 women at this job. But I was also 21, you know.
You're a kid.
I was a kid and I was like, oh, I'm in this pussy haze. I don't know what to do. So I fucked an intern, a secretary, a producer, like all these different people. This one though, this particular lady, I just remembered that, because when you black out, sometimes you have like fragments of memory, like you remember one thing and then you're like, I don't know what else happened. I remember being at this bar, people from work, and then I remember that I was at this lady's house on her living room floor, naked. And I remember that I was kissing down her chest.
Oh, no.
And when I got to her navel, she grabbed my face and she goes, you don't want to do that.
Oh, right? No.
Right? Like she knew like, you're going to be sick if you do that. So I was like, all right. And then I think I probably put it in, like, I was not capable of completing the sexual act. So I think I just slammed it in her a few times and she was like, why don't you go to bed? I don't know. I woke up and I completely, like, that panic thing. You have it, I think, when you fly internationally to like an 8th different time zone, where you wake up and you're like, the fuck, where am I?
Yeah.
And then if you black out, where you're like, where? And I had no idea where I was. So it's actually like this terrifying feeling when you wake up and you go like what room am I? I was freaked out.
She had folded all your like clothes and made you breakfast.
Actually, that's an important detail. That's an important detail. When I kind of realized in my head that I was like, I don't know where I'm at, and I got nervous, I turned and I saw her, and I'd never seen a more unattractive woman in my life, right? I mean, I was like, oh my God. And then it hit me what I'd done, and I was like, holy shit. And of course, I mean, I'm polite, and I also am like trying to stay calm, right? So I'm not gonna like flip out. So she's like, good morning, and I'm like, hi. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure. She goes, wow, she's making comments about it. I'm like, she goes, I'm gonna take a shower. And I was like, okay. And so she goes in the bathroom, and I remember I got up and I go, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. So I'm like, where are my clothes? I don't know where my clothes are. And I realize, I find like a sock on the stairs. And so the clothes are like all over the stairs, and I get dressed and I go into the kitchen and I'm like, where the fuck am I? And I see on her refrigerator are report cards for her like kids in high school, right? Like her kids are like in 8th grade and like 10th grade or something. I'm like, oh my God. And I go, I got to get the fuck out of here. Well, of course, you probably put it together, but a few seconds later, it occurs to me that I didn't drive there and I don't know where I am.
Oh, fuck.
So then I go like, I got to wait. So I was like about to leave, and I was like, I don't know where I am, and I don't have a car. I don't know anything. So it's the longest I've ever, waited. I'm just like, and she's like, do you want me to make you, I'm like, no, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I just want to get home. So she finally, we get in the car and she drives me, and I'm just like, dying for this ride to be over. And I'm just, yeah, oh, no, that would be nice. Yeah. And then she finally pulls up drive to my spot and she goes, well, and I go, yeah. And she leans over for a kiss and I give her my cheek, I go, so she kisses my cheek. I'm like, I get out of there and I'm like, I try to wash it off. And, I say this, I tell this story on stage later, but I remember that I was so mortified, and I was just so mortified that I had done that. And I was like, well, no one will ever know this, like I left there with her, and it's literally the next day and my buddy calls me and he was like, dude. And I go, yeah. He goes, how was your night? And I go, oh, and I try to downplay it. I go, not so bad, and he goes, not so bad. He goes, I know what you did. And I go, no. And he's like, yeah. And I go, how do you know? And he goes, because you fucked my aunt.
Oh my God.
Feel like your aunt's got a stinky pussy. You should tell her to clean up.
Your aunt that looks like a rescue dog? Like,
Rescue dog.
That's why I don't want to do those like 24andMe's, because of like those kind of things. Like I'm going to find out later that 23. I always do that. Like
He's got 24.
One extra one. But
thank you for watching that highlight here from YMH Studios. That was a highlight or a clip, whichever word you prefer. You watched it, and there are so many more little bite-sized episode things. They're just click them. Maybe it's someone screaming or bleeding. Maybe it's just laughing at someone, making fun of them.